is that if you work hard, good things will come. Now, I don't know if that's the case on all accounts, but what I do know is in the year of our cosmic overlords in 2024, how is it that this fight scene in Disney's Echo is considered acceptable in a multi-million-dollar franchise company show? We had come a long way from the early days of network superhero entertainment, I thought. So today I wanted to take a trip down the memory hole to compare this highly talked about fight scene to one I rewatched the other night from an early 90s low-budget extravaganza, Martial Law, starring Cynthia Rotrock. But first, follow me back to my distant youth of the 1970s and early 80s for a weekly ritual that included the Saturday morning sacrifice to the sugar and cartoon gods for a little context to what's to come. After a fill of Johnny Quest and Star Blazers, it was time for Saturday afternoons that would reign supreme with a double dose of kung-fu theater. This was my first venture into live-action wild acrobats, swordplay, and colorful costumes, topped with copious fight scenes that every little junior kung fu master wants just as they're coming down off their saccharine high. As the mid to late 80s rolled in, I needed more of my martial art fix, but sadly, domestic markets weren't carrying the recent Chan or Michelle Yao exports from Hong Kong yet. But I was able to obtain VHS dupes from Laserdisc that a Chinese market vendor would rent to me at an appalling rate. It was a bonus to catch any English subtitles. Most had only been translated into Cantonese and Mandarin. These action movies had elevated beyond what I grew up on and were pure fun. Then there was my discovery of Cynthia Rotrock, who landed on the scene as an American martial artist and actress from Southern California that appeared in these HK action movies at the time. Back then, this was a rare bird to see. She was and still is a firecracker of power, showing off her infamous scorpion kick as well as her agility, able to go toe-to-toe with some of Hong Kong's and USA's best and finest. Not excluding, of course, the great Australian martial artist and actor Richard Norton. This all brings me back to the other night watching 1991's Martial Law with Cynthia Rothrock and Chad McQueen. Yes, that's Chad McQueen. I chose one of Cynthia's fight scenes from this flick solely. Trying to compare one of her HK appearances would be a fool's errand. They're in a league of their own. Now, this movie is not an HK film, but a 90s American dopey action flick, also starring David Carradine and Oddjob with an 80s holdover vibe. These flicks always make me happy. For one, I worked on low-budget action films back in my Hollywood days of employment, and they were a hoot. So I have a warm spot deep down in my cockles for their chutzpah. Now, some will argue that Cynthia is a highly accomplished martial artist prior to being an actress, comparatively speaking to the Echo actress who is also working with an actual mechanical leg. I get that. I'm not looking to take anything away from actress Eloqua Cox. This is directed purely at the producers and filmmakers from an entertainment standpoint on how far we have fallen and relied too much on what works for the current thing and not for the characters and material itself.